Okay, guys, let's watch this. This is for our so-called Nollywood actors, all these Nollywood celebrities. Let's watch this. Let's just listen to this man.
And until we point it out and look at it together, that is the only way we can solve it. Very big problem. The Nollywood have constituted to the major problems we are having in our society. And what is the problem? There was a time all the Nollywood movies in this country are targeted towards exposing a reality that never existed, whereby uncles and relatives in the villages are throwing juju, aka otumoko, to their relatives in the cities. And all the Nollywood movies, Lagu, that is what he's known for. These people presented an era that drove people into Christianity. They presented an era that flushed people into churches without even verifying the origin of those churches. Because Nollywood movies are bent on showing a reality that all the juju is coming from the villages, while only pastors in the cities can save those people. They show different moving scenes, showing how pastors will pray and send Holy Ghost fire from heaven to either destroy patients or Zokwa or Shin with Lagu or Pete Doshe. These people were contracted to create a kind of movies that will push people to patronize churches. It was a deliberate attempt. It's either the actors don't know, or the directors know, or the people who are caucus behind the movie industry knows that the more they show those movies, the more people will run to churches, believing on that illusion. Somebody like Patience Ozokwo, the roles you acted as an evil mother-in-law in movies have contributed directly and indirectly to most of the failed marriages we have had in our society, whereby young girls who were adolescents or kids as at the time they were watching those movies from Patience Ozokwo grew into an adult female that is scared of their mother-in-laws. Immediately they are going to be introduced to their mother-in-law, they start seeing Patience Ozokwo in the face of their mother-in-law. This have contributed to a lot of failed movies because these people are not mentally strong enough to know that those things they are watching in those movies are just storylines that are not reality. And because nobody could be there to guide them, in Nigeria, even movies that were indicated that it should be watched by 18 years and above, some foolish parents will sit down and watch those movies with their kids. And these kids develop idiotic mentalities from those movies. I tell you that our society was strongly built upon relationship between the people in the villages and the people in the cities. In the olden days, people in the villages sent rice, tubers of yam, and several grains of food, as well as palm oil, to the people in the city, which reduced the buying pressure on people in the cities. And in reciprocation, people in the city sent things that are in the city to the people in the villages. But Nollywood movies created an era that bettered a negative energy between people in the city and people in the villages. Everybody now says, now your village people, they after you. It sounds funny, but it is not. Because this division left people in the city stranded and trapped by pastors who took advantage of those stories in those movies to lie to people that it is somebody from one village or the other that is contributing to their problems in the city. This made a lot of churches to boom and experience a great business growth, but it has destroyed our society. And you say we shouldn't talk about it? Exactly. Now, the Nollywood created a negative migratory era in our society, whereby every Nollywood movie you watch, you will see Emeka leave the village before 1 month, before 2 months, he become a rich man in the city. Ramsey Noah will leave the village before 1 month, before 2 months, he become a rich man in the city. This encouraged a negative, rapid inflow of population of people from the villages into the cities, to the extent that the cities became highly overpopulated and densely crowded. To the extent whereby the cost of accommodation become very, very difficult for people. Life become difficult in the city because the expectations was not there. Only watching everybody that is finishing their WAEC in the village at that time is ready to move into the city. No planning. The Nollywood caused a lot of damages to our society, and these Nollywood actors and actresses never checked the impact of those negative movies they were acting. But indeed, there was damages. People became trapped in the city as I speak with you. People are suffering in the city, whereby there are positive and brilliant opportunities in the villages waiting for them. Somebody whose mother is struggling to make palm oil in the village abandon the mother in the middle of that palm oil business and run to the city to become a fuel pump attendant in the filling station. Any 40,000 naira, that is a bastard. Meanwhile, if they are in the villages with their parents and they explore all the village opportunities and make this palm oil, they can make millions of naira within a short period of time. People dance to the tune of negative movies from Nollywood, and the Nollywood now saw a robust storylines along the negative impact they created, demonizing our culture, creating positive ground for fake pastors to strive. In the olden days, there was no phone, only letter writing. Somebody can leave their girlfriend in the village and travel to the city and spend 15 years without communication and still go back to that village and marry their spouse. The dream of every great people in our society is to go back to their villages and return the goods and kindness to their people. But Nollywood movie disconnected this relationship. I'm not too old, but in the olden days, you can walk into every home and ask them to give you drinking water and they will give you. That time pure water was not 300 naira. They started acting occultic films. They started showing movies whereby somebody can poison corn, poison food, and give to babies and turn them into cock, into yam for diabolical purpose. And many parents started warning their children, but they were practically creating hardship. Because if we cannot share with ourselves, if we cannot live in peace and harmony, we cannot survive. It is natural. There must be dependency. Nollywood movies caused a lot of problems in our society, but we will not continue to lament alone. Now, what is the solution? Now that Nollywood movies have shown that pastors are great prayer warriors and they can kill all the herbalists in Nollywood movies. It happened in the days of Jeremiah, Isaiah, Elijah, and all the prophets, including Daniel. It happens in the days of the prophets of Quran when their gods were put to test. Now let us put these gods to test so that we know whether that Nollywood movies, when they go pray against him with the laguti, the juju go fail, him go turn to snake, him go confess, him go die. Mo know whether that's true or not lie. Mo know who they really they serve the real God. If you know that you be Imam or you be Malam or you be anything of Islamic origin where you be, may you come out for Eagle Square for Abuja. Make all the herbalists come out for Eagle Square, Abuja. Make all the pastors come out. Mo test to na powers. Mo test to na gods. Mo know who they really they serve the real God. Make pastor pray, make herbalists die, or make herbalists blow powder for pastor face. Mo know who go blind. Enough. There is no need for power tussle. There is no need for power challenge. As far as the patients of while you are alive, you should know that it is your responsibility to come outside and preach to young ladies that those images you portrayed in your movies is not actually the reality of who you are, and it's not even the reality of what a young female should expect of their mother-in-law. Because any image you can picture represents your imagination, and that is what you manifest into reality. So people have helped a lot of people manifest negative relationship with their families, with their village, and pastors have taken advantage of that to proliferate lies. When Jesus healed person for Bible, you know, talk saying that the relative now cause the sickness. Today, our guys they go do BBL, then they go do artificial yash. People yash they explode. People yash they explode. Where does that all come from? Nollywood. Nollywood started to select only people who get big yash for movie roles. They created an anorexic standard of beauty, and they made it the model of our society, whereby every girl will have to struggle to fit in. And that is why most of the young ladies have lived their life spending all their money on how to fit in into the Nollywood standard of beauty. Nobody appreciates natural beauty again. See this one go do nyash, like saying where the cut amito to join her. What kind of beauty do you want to present to the world by risking your life to this extent? This is the pressure the movie industry put our young ladies into. They created an anorexic standard of relationship in our society, and everybody wants to have that kind of relationship they see in Nollywood movies. People are perishing, and more will perish. But only the wise will listen to the truth and wake up.
You hear that? What do you think about this? What do you think? Is this guy saying the truth, or he's just lamenting? Because with what he has said so far, I have heard a lot of truth in it. I have seen a lot of truth in it. Let's know what you think about this video on the comment section.